What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cam Show. We finally got the NBA Finals, the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. I can't wait for this matchup, but shout out to the Dallas Mavericks. I think that's my favorite to win it. I've always been a non-believer of the Boston Celtics this year. There's so many instances where Boston just goes inconsistent with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I just don't think they mesh together. I just don't, but looking at Kyrie and Luka, these two guys right here, they remind me of Kyrie and LeBron back in 2016. That playoff run they did, they're down 3-1 in the NBA Finals against Golden State. The rest is history. I'm telling you right now, with Kyrie and Luka, what they're doing with the Dallas Mavericks, I'm telling you, they can beat the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are beatable. We look at the matchups Boston's had throughout this playoffs, the easiest run ever. They played the Miami Heat without Jimmy Butler. He was hurt. Then they played Cleveland without Davion Mitchell for a couple games. Then they played Indiana Pacers, which the Pacers were up in about 3 or 4 of the games in the fourth quarter. They should have sealed the deal and won it, but they didn't. And Tyrese Halliburton was out with a vagina injury. That's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, Boston found a way to get in. But yes, they have a great roster, but I'm telling you right now, the Dallas Mavericks, I want them to win. We look at they're just, look at them. I mean, look at Kyrie, and it's crazy. The Olympic Committee really stuffed Kyrie, didn't even want him to come. That's crazy. They'd rather have Drew Holiday and Tyrese Halliburton over Kyrie because of what? Because he speaks his mind? Like, do we understand the First Amendment in the United States of America? Kyrie should be on the Olympic team this year in 2024. That's ridiculous. But Kyrie, game 1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, 30 points. Game 2, 20 points. Game 3, 33 points. Game 4, they took an L16. Game 5, over 35, dude. It's crazy, man. I mean, Kyrie is that guy. He's a magician, one of the greatest ball handlers that I've ever seen play in the NBA. Next to Allen Iverson, it's like, holy cow, how does Kyrie have a string on his handle? How does he get up some of these shots over 7-footers? And it looks like Kyrie's like my size, 5'11" out there, but I think Kyrie realistically is probably like 6'2", 6'3", but I'm telling you, Kyrie can just move. He just knows angles of basketball. His IQ is off the charts. I think that's really underrated in Kyrie's game, but I just think Kyrie's the X factor for them. Luka, we already know Luka's going to do his thing. Luka, game 1, he gets Minnesota 33 points, 8 assists. Game 2, 32 points, 13 assists, 10 boards against Minnesota. Went crazy. Game 3, 33 points. Game 4, they took an L. He had a triple-double, 28 points, 15 boards, 10 assists. And then Game 5, over 30 plus points for Luka. When Luka and Kyrie go for 30-plus, I'm telling you right now, Boston's going to have a huge problem with that. Who's going to guard Kyrie, number 1? It's going to be so awesome because Kyrie used to be in Boston, so he knows them really well. It's going to be interesting. What, Drew Holiday's going to lock up Kyrie? Well, come on. What, Derek White's going to lock up Kyrie? Stop it, dude. Like, nobody's going to lock up Kyrie or Luka. So, like, there's 2 mismatches already, and I understand Tatum's going to have his best game of his career in the NBA Finals this year. Tatum's going to have to show up and score 30-plus points a game for Boston to be in these type of games. Jaylen Brown, he's really come on late. He's really proved to me a lot in the past month that Jaylen Brown can ball. Even though I've been a non-believer of Jaylen Brown in the past couple years, but he's really improved. And I think if Jaylen Brown goes for 30-plus, this series is going to go 7 games. It 100% is. I mean, Tatum and Jaylen Brown, obviously the best players on Boston. Drew Holiday, Derek White, role players. Peyton Pritchard, another role player. You know, you got a bunch of role players besides Tatum and Brown. Same thing with the Dallas Mavericks. So very similar type of teams that we're facing here. But I just think the Mavs, man, I want to give a shout out to PJ Washington, another great role player who's going to fill in huge for the Dallas Mavericks. And then we got Derek Lively, the center for the Dallas Mavericks, who I underestimated. He's been coming in, really producing a lot. Definitely in the Minnesota series. I mean, you're playing against what? Rudy Gobert? Dude, he's such a cupcake, dude. So soft. We saw what Luka did in game 2. Straight cooked him. Straight yelled at his face. And Gobert's just like, oh, I'm not going to say anything, dude. That's just not who I am. I'm just going to walk away like I'm a bitch and not do shit. Like, that's what Rudy Gobert did. And he won Defensive Player of the Year this year and didn't do anything about it. Like, that's embarrassing, dude. This is playoffs. This is big boy time. Rudy Gobert's that little poodle there. Like the Luka's a pit bull, Rudy Gobert's a poodle. That's what, if they were dogs, that's what would have happened, dude. I'm telling you right now. But Boston, shout out to Boston. I mean, championship after championships. They have 17 total championships, tied for most all time in NBA history, tied with the Los Angeles Lakers. Their most recent one was back in 2008 with KG, Kevin Garnett. Shout out to Kevin Garnett. You got Rajon Rondo, Ray Allen. Yes, even Paul Pierce. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of Paul Pierce. They had Big Baby Davis. Boston got it done, and really they should have won in 2010 as well. They lost to the Lakers and Kobe in 7 games in a heartbreaking series that was. But I'm looking at the 2008 team and realizing, hey, they had KG there. Kevin Garnett was a difference maker. They don't have a player like Kevin Garnett on the Boston Celtics this year. That is a huge miss. They don't have a guy like Rajon Rondo. They don't. Ray Allen, well, we already know what Ray Allen is. They really don't. Derek White could be a junior varsity level Ray Allen, but he's just not like that guy. He really isn't. But I do think Derek White is an X-Factor type of player for the Boston Celtics. If they want to win a championship this year, Derek White's going to have to hit the big threes after big threes. 3 or 4 big threes in each and every game. Derek White's going to have to come through the clutch. And then Drew Holiday's going to have to play great defense on Kyrie, but Kyrie's going to be in his bag. Everybody, all the non-believers and all the people who don't understand the game of basketball, let alone the NBA, they wrote off Kyrie. They said Kyrie's done, that's it. He's washed up. He's old. He's like 31 in his prime years as a young man. Like in your early 30s, that's literally your prime years, especially if you're a late bloomer. Like Kyrie, dude, went to Duke. He got hurt at Duke. Everybody wrote him off. I'm telling you, Kyrie is that dude. He is that guy, and we already know Luka is that an animal. He's a different breed, but stop it saying he's better than LeBron. Stop it. Obviously, I wanted to see LeBron and the Lakers win it this year. I do think that this was their year, but overall, I'm looking at the Dallas Mavericks. Shout out to Mark Cuban, and I'm telling you right now, the Mavericks have their handful. The Mavericks only won 1 championship, and that was back in 2011. And they beat who? Yes, I understand. My LeBron, the GOAT. LeBron is the GOAT, 100%, even though he choked in that finals. I get it. Everybody wants to say what they want. You know, shout out to the Dallas Mavericks. They deserved it. You know, Dirk Nowitzki single-handedly won them that finals there. Dirk is that guy, a first-ballot Hall of Famer. So shout out to Dirk Nowitzki, man. What a legend he is. But that's their only championship in 2011. They're going up against 1 versus 17 championships in Boston Celtics. The history of Boston runs deep. Bill Russell played in Boston, won 11 championships in Boston. Larry Bird won 3 NBA championships in Boston. So much tradition in Boston, dude. So, like, we got to give respect to Boston, but I'm not rooting for them. Absolutely not. And I do think if the Boston Celtics do lose this series against the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals, I do think this team's going to get broken up. I do think there's going to be some trades. I do think either Tatum or Jaylen Brown are going to get traded. Like, if you guys cannot win a championship with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Drew Holiday and Derek White, you're like, come on, bro. Like, you guys have so many great players on the Boston Celtics. And if you guys come up short yet again, we saw what happened a couple years ago when Steph Curry cooked you guys. Like, what's going to be the difference here? I think Boston's going to come up short, and I think the Dallas Mavericks, I'm doing a bold prediction here, but I think the Dallas Mavericks win in 6 games. I really do. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, the difference between the Mavericks and everybody else is they close out games. They hit big shots after big shots. Kyrie comes down the stretch and hits big shots. Whereas the Pacers in Game 1 against Boston, they panicked when they were up 3. They literally, you thought they were down by 3. The way they're in a hurry, they're in a rush. Tyrese Halliburton's dribbling the ball off his leg in overtime. Like, dude, like, come on, bro. Like, there's levels to this. And when it comes to the biggest stage and the brightest lights, the Dallas Mavericks are built for this. Luka is built for this. Kyrie, we already know, is built for this. We saw Kyrie hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history and NBA Finals back in Game 7 on Steph Curry. Tied up 89, he hit the 3 with about a minute to go. A dagger. We already know what Kyrie can do. And Jason Kidd, he won the championship with Dallas back in 2011 against my LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh and those guys. And he really did. So shout out to Jason Kidd. And he's an excellent coach. We already know the IQ of the game. Jason Kidd, a champion. Shout out to Jason Kidd, even though I would take Steve Nash over Jason Kidd as a true point guard. But, you know, as a coach right now, Jason Kidd has the Mavericks right where they need him. You know, they're going to have a week's rest, even though Boston's had a cakewalk to the NBA Finals. I'm telling you right now, Boston's going to get ran through. I believe it 100%. I don't have any other doubts that freaking Boston's going to come in here and win it all. I just don't. Yes, Tatum can go for 40 a night, okay? And Jaylen Brown can go for 40 a night. That's great. I'm saying overall, every single game in a 7-game series, are they going to go for 40 each and every night? That's going to be tough to do. We're talking about the NBA Finals here. This is the pinnacle here. This is the brightest stage, the brightest lights right here, right now. So, like, what's going to happen? Are they going to step up? Is Jason Tatum going to get frozen? You know, are these guys going to really step up? Al Horford, he's been a vet, but I do think he's washed up. With Porzingis going out, I think that's a huge loss for the Boston Celtics, and that's my deciding factor. I'm saying Kyrie scoring 30-plus, he's the X factor for the Dallas Mavericks to win a championship. If Kyrie's going to play like he's been playing all playoffs, they're going to win it, dude. They really are. So they're my favorite right now. I might change my mind and say, okay, 7 games, the Dallas Mavericks, but right now I'm going Dallas in 6 games. I really am. I think the Mavs come in. They come in hot. P.J. Washington's coming in. Derek Lively. The role players for the Dallas Mavericks are going to step up. Same thing with the Boston Celtics. Obviously, they're the number 1 seed. You know, the Boston, they have the home court advantage. They have everything they've ever needed, right? But they don't have a championship under this caliber team. And it happened a couple years ago when Steph Curry, like I said, came in and cooked you guys. That's what happened. So I think Tatum, he needs to step up. I'm not really worried about Tatum. I think a lot of people hate on Tatum. You know, yes, I've hated on Tatum in the past, but he stepped up to me the past month, and I realized Tatum is going to take off here, and I think Tatum's going to score about 30-plus points a game against the Dallas Mavericks here. My thing is, who's going to guard Luka? Like, who's gonna be the X factor type of player to lock Luka up? It's not gonna happen. This is Luka's really time to become NBA Finals MVP here and average about 10 plus boards a game, maybe even 15 boards a game, 10 assists, 25 plus points a game. Luka doesn't have to score 35 points a game. Why? Because you have Kyrie. You have PJ Washington who's shooting lights out. So I think right now, Kyrie, they need to get him involved quickly. That's what they have to do. If I'm Jason Kidd, I'm saying from game 1 in Boston, I'm saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. Kyrie, you're going to have a green light in the first half. You're going to shoot freaking 15-plus times, and that's what you're going to do. This is the NBA Finals here. This is for everything. Dallas is looking at their 2nd championship since 2011, whereas the Boston Celtics are looking at their 18th NBA championship to be the most all-time. So there's history involved in this NBA Finals. I think there's going to be a lot of good viewers. I think millions of people are going to stay tuned. I wish LeBron would be in it, absolutely. But I just think right now, Luka and Kyrie, they're just too much for Boston. They really are. And Boston doesn't really have a Kyrie stopper or a Luka stopper. It's going to be interesting, though, even though, yes, Boston right now on paper is the better team. Yes, they have the better roster. They have the better players overall. I get all that. But right now, when I'm talking about winning an NBA championship and hitting big shots, I'm taking Kyrie and Luka over Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown all day, every day. I'm going the Dallas Mavericks in 6 over the Boston Celtics. You heard it from Cap, no Cap. It's the Clownwood Cap Show. Let's go!